Do you know that half of the fertility struggles are related to male factor? Your dude counts too. I'm Denise Noyer-Erez, and I'm going to talk to you today about sperm quality, and I'm excited to answer your questions. I'm known as the fertility godmother, and I have been blessed to be doing this work for almost 18 years. I'm counting because I love it. And today we're going to be talking about sperm because we always talk about the eggs, right? It's all about the eggs. We hear that all the time. But the truth is 50% of the struggles of getting pregnant have to do with the sperm. And it's so, so important. Hi, Stacy. Thanks for coming on. And it's so, so important for both of you to be as healthy as possible before you try to conceive. So not only can you help increase your chances of getting pregnant, but you can have a healthy baby. And what a lot of people get so caught up on is the eggs, because honestly, the eggs, they're magical, right? They have so much power and they can do amazing things. But if you're struggling already, then you want to make sure that the sperm is going to come in and be, I like to call it, be the hero, right? Instead of the villain and pulling you down, right? Because especially if there's already challenges and you need more to work together, the egg and the sperm to work together. So let's just unpack that a little bit. We're going to talk about some different testing that you can do to make sure. So first, you want to make sure that your overall health is going to be as healthy as possible. So you want to avoid toxins, right? So from alcohol, drugs, too much sugar, and environmental pollutants. Those are going to be things that not only impact the egg, but they also have a huge impact on the quality of the sperm and can inhibit certain things. So especially if you're struggling, if you're having some challenges, you want to make sure that you're on board of being healthy and vital, right? So some testing you can do, and that I recommend that you do, no matter, especially if you're in the beginning of trying to get pregnant, would be to do a semen analysis. So the thing with a semen analysis is it's great and it's a baseline test and it's absolutely necessary, but it doesn't give you all of the information that you need. So a lot of times the picture looks really pretty, but the inside may not be going on so well. So what I mean by the inside is I'm talking about the DNA. So you know that to make a baby, it takes 50% of the DNA from the mom and 50% of the DNA from the dad. And you want both of those, the DNA when they mix, to be strong and healthy and not fragmented or broken or have shapes on them. You want them to be healthy and vital and strong. And so the sperm analysis, the semen analysis, does not look at that, does not test for that. What it tests for is just the shape, the amount, and if they're moving forward, or if they're moving in circles, or which way they're going. So it's a really important and valid test. But sometimes, especially if you've been struggling for a while, or if you've had miscarriages, you might want to consider doing a DNA fragmentation test. So that's where they actually look at the structure of the DNA. Okay, and then you can actually, there's things you can do. So that's the good news. There are things you can do for that, for the environmental toxins. You can do things for improving motility and morphology. Okay, and a lot of times you can do things for numbers, improving the numbers. But one thing that's really important for you to know is that you need to figure out, why is the sperm, if it's not good quality, why is it not good quality? Is it not good quality because you have a varicocele, or is there a hormone imbalance going on? So those are some really important reasons and to check out. So as women, men also have hormones, and it's important to get your hormones tested. In fact, there's a doctor who I just adore, Dr. Paul Turek. He is a reproductive urologist, and he talks about this a lot, how if there's if there's a problem with the man's sperm, then there's more than likely going to be some health issues that need to be addressed, whether it's cardiovascular or whatever it may be. So another good reason to get a full checkup and be as healthy as possible. So those are two tests that can be really important and helpful for you as you're on your journey to conceive. And I would do a minimum of the regular semen analysis, just so that you know, right? If you have good numbers, if the shape is good, are they moving in the right direction? Because they need to move forward. They're not going to get there moving in circles. Okay. The other thing that's really important is, I'm looking at my notes here, guys. I don't want to forget anything. Is you want to protect the sperm, right? So the best way from the toxins. So our body has a normal oxidative process, meaning we have normal stress on our cells. We also have natural antioxidants to protect our cells as well. But sometimes when when the burden gets too much and it tips over, then that's when damage can happen. But you can help that by having antioxidants, and you can do that through diet. You can do that. Sorry, somebody wanted to call me right then. You can do that through diet. You can do that through supplements, so I would definitely recommend combining both. And some of the basic supplements you want to take are going to be your vitamin C, E, zinc, and selenium. Those are really important for sperm quality, for the maturation of the sperm, so for the health of the sperm. So those vitamins themselves are going to be super important. And you can do things you can feel free to go into the link and click on the male supplements and recommendations for male diet for fertility, so that you can get some ideas on specific foods that you can have if you prefer to eat, and also specific supplements more than just the vitamin C, zinc, and E. So E protects. There are going to be vitamins that are important for your overall health, but to have a little bit more to protect your sperm is going to be really important. And I think no matter what, whether you have sperm problems or not, it's really good to be on a high quality, multivitamin for men. Can't tell you how many men I've seen that take their wives prenatal. That's not a good thing to do. It's not going to be saving money. You're going to be hurting your health, because it's not made for women and not made for men. It's made for women. And you have to be careful as well. So you really want to have a multivitamin geared towards men for your health and your vitality. Okay, so important. I really like coenzyme Q10 as well. It's great for heart health. It's a really potent antioxidant, and it helps with sperm quality and egg quality. So those are going to be some things that are going to be really helpful for you that you can do. So now I'm going to go ahead and answer a couple questions. And if you have any while you're on with me, please feel free to send them, type them in, send them in. And if you're not here, then I will address them later. Okay, so first of all, I have a question that says, is it okay to have my husband drink herbal tea for fertility, such as maca root? And how? Okay. So that's actually a great question. You have to be really careful with herbs in general. So one of my biggest things is, a lot of people, you'll do the research on Dr. Google and they'll make your suggestions, right? And it can become overwhelming, or you'll have like 100 things to do, but you don't know what to do, or somebody recommends something. So the thing with maca root is I think it's 63 different phenotypes. So what that means is the expression of the herb, even though it's maca, it does different things. So you have to be careful on what maca you're putting in your body. Is it specifically for sperm? Is it specifically for menopause? Is it specifically for fertility? Why are you using it, and where is it coming from? So you have to be careful with the maca. I honestly don't know 100% sure, but I think some of the powders that you put in your smoothies, I think they're pretty neutral, but again, just be really careful, because there's so many different brands out there. And that goes with all herbs. So a lot of times we think that herbs are natural and they're not going to hurt us, but the truth is you can have some counterindicative things going on in your body that it may not be good for. And you definitely want to hone in on the ones that are going to give you the most bang for the buck, right? You want to get the best ones out there. What tests need to be done to see if he's in good shape? So I mentioned already about the semen analysis. That's going to be really important and to see if they're moving in the right direction, how the shape is, do you have enough of them? So that would be the first place to start. And then I also mentioned about the DNA fragmentation, which is usually done if you can't find a reason why you're not getting pregnant, or if there's been miscarriages, then you can do a DNA fragmentation, because we know that the sperm has an impact on not only the health of your baby, the health of your pregnancy. It can also have an impact if you're miscarrying and you don't know why, in the whole development of the embryo. So your sperm is really important. And even though I was talking about earlier about how the eggs are magical, what they can do if you have strong eggs is they actually can, after it's fertilized, after the egg is fertilized, they can actually fix, like wave their magic wand. They can actually fix some of the fragmentation or some of the things that are wrong with the sperm, but they can't fix everything. And if there's not a lot of energy and the eggs are older, you really need both the egg and the sperm to be as healthy as possible so that they can work together in synergy instead of trying to work extra hard and make something happen. If a man is using lots of metabolism supplements because he's a workout junkie, should he lay off those while a couple is trying to conceive? Oh, that's a great question. Thank you. Yes, I would say absolutely, because that's one thing. You can have caffeine, but you want to be careful about the amount of caffeine. And some of those supplements tend to have a lot of caffeine in them and some other things that may be counterproductive. Which reminds me, I can't tell you how many times I've seen it, but I've seen it enough to bring it up to you, that some men who really like to work out, they take testosterone. And testosterone is actually going to make you sterile. So if you don't know that already, you need to know that, because I've seen it so many times. It's like a shocking amount of times when I'm going through somebody's health history and I just read your mind. Awesome. Thank you. When I'm going through somebody's health history and I see that, oftentimes it gets missed by the doctors. And, we're wondering, why don't we have any sperm? But the good news is it can be reversed. So it's not permanent damage. But when you're trying to conceive, you definitely don't want to be taking extra testosterone. Okay, what's another question here? How much does diet matter, and any suggestions on foods to eat? So I'm going to recommend that you download my guide for men and fertility. I was just going to move into testosterone. Oh, perfect. I'm glad I answered that. So testosterone, if you're trying to get pregnant, get off it, and it will take about 3 months. Usually it's around 3 months to regenerate. Thank you. Great question. So diet, I recommend downloading my free guide for male fertility food suggestions. Diet absolutely matters. It matters for both men. It matters for women, because your whole body, every cell in your body is circulating through, nourishing every organ and your sperm, and it has these certain factors that need to be bind together. And I'm kind of going off on some nerdy tangent here. Sorry if it's too much, but the bottom line is, yes, it's so important to have a healthy diet, and it's really in your control, and consistency is key. Just like with anything that you're successful with, consistency is key to your health. Does that mean you have to be 100%? No, it doesn't mean you have to be 100%, but you do have to be, and I use the word but intentionally, you do have to have at least 80% consistency. So one cheat day or a little bit here and there, if it's really in moderation, then it's okay. And that goes for alcohol, that goes for drugs, is you just want to eliminate. I think there's a question here about alcohol. Yeah, does he need to stop completely drinking? So no, with alcohol, the studies seem to show less than 4 drinks a week. Okay, not a day, but a week, less than 4 drinks a week. So you can still have some alcohol, and that's like a normal sized drink. It's not, like a few of these big beers or something, right? Okay, so, and beer tends to be the worst, which I know a lot of guys really like their beer, but beer seems to be the worst. So you want to keep it under 4 drinks a week. And as far as drugs, then if you want to stop drugs when you're trying to conceive, both men and women, even if it's marijuana. So if you're smoking once a month, you're smoking a little bit, like a joint or a couple hits or a gummy or whatever you're doing once a month, it's probably not going to make a big deal, a big impact on your sperm quality. But if you're doing it every day or several times a day and you're struggling, then you definitely want to give it up. And I know that it takes time for your sperm to recover. But again, the good news is your sperm is constantly regenerating and making new sperms. But it does take 90 days, which is about 3 months, for that whole cycle to complete. Okay. What else was there? Any suggestions on foods to eat? So again, I have that download for more, but I like to recommend Brazil nuts. Brazil nuts have a lot of zinc in them, and zinc is really good for your vitality. It's really good for your fertility. So Brazil nuts would be my number one go-to for that. And lots of greens, antioxidants. Okay, super important. Exercise, reducing environmental toxins, the BPAs, right? You're going to do one thing, try to just eliminate plastic as much as possible. That makes a huge difference. Huge difference. The cell phones, you guys, because of the heat. So temperature makes a difference for guys in that area. Excuse me, I'm just going to grab a sip here. So temperature makes a big difference for men in that area. And the cell phones, because of the heat and because of the radiation, and if it's close in the front pocket, then there's some studies that show that it causes damage to the sperm. So just remove it and either get a little pouch for it or put it in the back pocket, or put it on airplane mode, which may not always work, but you can definitely recommend not having the cell phone in the front pocket. Because of the heat and the radiation, super important. And so again, it's something you want to, not only is it for the radiation, but to stay cool. Sometimes I'll recommend even putting a little cold compress down there. You want to make sure it doesn't get too hot. And then have a urologist check you out. Make sure you don't have a varicocele if there's a problem with the sperm, the amount of sperm, because you want to make sure that and then how bad it is. So there's different degrees of a varicocele and how that can impact. But what that is, it's like a varicose vein, but it's in the testicles. So it creates a lot of heat, creates a lot of toxins in the area, and it can really impact the sperm. Okay, so there you have it. I hope that was good. I loved your questions. Thank you so much for your questions. So helpful. I hope I answered them. Let me just check and make sure I got all of my talking points today. I'll do a quick recap. We talked about testing, what kind of testing you need to have done. So semen analysis, and thank you, semen analysis and a DNA fragmentation. We talked about protecting the sperm and enhancing the sperm through antioxidants, and which would be like specifically vitamin C, E, and zinc. We gave you some ideas about zinc. The foods would be like Brazil nuts and lots of greens. We talked about how important diet is, and how things can actually really change with sperm. So don't think that they can't, because they absolutely can. You do have control, and diet is the biggest factor in so many things. You'll see a huge difference. Oh, guys, I just thought of this. Soda, no soda for either partner, the man or the woman, either one of you. No soda. Sorry, I know people don't like me for that, but it's so much toxicity in that soda. So there you have it. I hope that was really helpful for you. I will be here next week at 1:30 with Tea with a Fertility Godmother. And I will see you then. Please send me your questions if you have any. Try sparkling water. Yes, great suggestion. Try sparkling water instead of soda. I know a lot of people, that soda is so addicting. It's hard to get off of, but once you do, you'll be so happy. Thanks everybody for joining me, and make it an amazing week. Here's to your health, your fertility, and I'll see you next week.